Do you remember when mornings began with the smell of toast? When the radio hummed quietly in the kitchen, and when life felt simple? Before smartphones, before online shopping, before everything became fast and digital, there was a Canada that moved at the pace of love, laughter, and time well spent. Today, we're going back to rediscover the 10 brands that made growing up in Canada unforgettable. Each one was more than a logo or a product, it was a piece of who we were. Let's begin. Number 10. Zellers, the heart of every small town. Back then, every Canadian mall had one thing in common: that big red Zellers sign glowing through frosted windows. You didn't go to Zellers just to shop, you went there to live a small part of your week. The wooden floors echoed softly beneath winter boots, and inside you'd see moms flipping through racks of school clothes, dads browsing tools, and kids racing to the toy aisle, hoping to catch a deal or a smile from the cashier who knew everyone by name. But the real treasure of Zellers? The family diner. That smell of fries and gravy, the sizzle from the grill, and that feeling of comfort, a kind that only existed before life got too busy. Zellers wasn't a department store, it was a memory warehouse. And when it shut down, it felt like someone quietly turned the lights off on our childhood. Number 9. Beaver Canoe, the spirit of the North. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't loud, but wearing a Beaver Canoe sweatshirt in the 1980s meant you belonged. Created by Roots, the brand captured something deeper than fashion. It represented the calm beauty of nature, the sound of paddles slicing through lake water, and the pride of growing up Canadian. You'd see those gray sweatshirts at school, worn proudly with rolled sleeves and messy hair after summer camp. Beaver Canoe wasn't about trends, it was about identity. A brand that quietly said, "We're proud of who we are and where we come from." Number 8. Eaton's, the store that defined a nation. Before malls became megacenters, there was Eaton's, a store that didn't just sell things, it shaped our memories. Walking through Eaton's was like stepping into another world. The scent of perfume mixed with leather gloves, the polished floors, the joy of holding your parents' hand while staring at the Christmas displays, lights sparkling, music playing softly overhead. And every December, that Eaton's catalog would arrive, a thick book of dreams. Kids would spend hours circling toys they wanted, while parents quietly planned surprises that would make Christmas morning magical. Eaton's wasn't a business, it was a Canadian tradition. And when its doors closed in 1999, many said it felt like the country had lost a piece of its soul. Number 7. Clearly Canadian, Bubbles of Happiness. Before energy drinks and plastic bottles took over, there was Clearly Canadian, the glass-bottled sparkle of our youth. You could spot it from across a corner store fridge, the blue-tinted glass catching the light just right. Wild cherry, mountain blackberry, peach, every flavor felt like a summer afternoon bottled for forever. It was what you'd brought to picnics, what you drank after rollerblading, and what your best friend always borrowed a sip from and never gave back. When the brand vanished, we didn't just lose a drink, we lost one of the little joys that made growing up here so refreshing. And when it made its small comeback years later, Canadians everywhere ordered cases online, because taste can fade, but memories never do. Number 6. Byway, the store for everyone. There was nothing fancy about Byway, and that was its charm. No glossy displays or loud advertisements, just bins, shelves, and honest deals. You could walk in with $5 and come out with socks, pencils, and maybe a pack of gum you didn't need but bought anyway. Byway was Canada's corner store of dreams. The one your mom trusted, the one you ran into after school, and the one that taught you early on that value wasn't about money, it was about simplicity. Every time you walked through those aisles, you learned that happiness doesn't come from big things, but from little things done right. Number 5. Laura Secord, A Taste of Love and Heritage. Every Canadian kid remembers that feeling. Pressing your nose against the glass, watching as rows of chocolate truffles glistened under warm lights. Laura Secord wasn't a chocolate shop. It was magic. A place that smelled like holidays, that looked like happiness, and that carried the warmth of Canadian pride. Whether you were picking out a gift box for your teacher or getting a treat with your grandparents, Laura Secord felt like home. Each bite held stories of winter nights, of family dinners, of moments where love was measured not in words, but in sweetness. Number 4. Mr. Dress-Up and the World of Canadian Childhood TV. Before cartoons screamed and screens scrolled endlessly, Canadian kids had something gentler, Mr. Dress-Up. He wasn't selling toys or chasing clicks. He was teaching us kindness, creativity, and the beauty of imagination. The crayons, the puppets, the crafts, they weren't just props. They were invitations to dream. And behind the show, small Canadian brands made those crafts, toys, and books, local, humble, and filled with love. Mr. Dress-Up reminded us that joy didn't come from what we bought, but from what we made. And that's a message the world needs now more than ever. Number 3. Roots, the uniform of adventure. The old Roots was more than a clothing brand. It was a lifestyle. You could smell the leather from their bags before you even entered the store. Those thick cotton sweatshirts, the sturdy boots, and that familiar beaver logo meant one thing: you were ready for adventure. Roots represented everything Canada stood for: nature, community, and authenticity. It wasn't about luxury, it was about lasting. And every piece felt like it had a story to tell. Even today, when you spot a vintage Roots jacket, you can't help but smile, because it carries the spirit of a Canada that was built to endure. Number 2. Harvey's, where every burger was a memory. Before fast food became a blur of drive-thrus and app orders, there was Harvey's, a place that actually felt personal. After a long day at hockey practice or a snowy walk home, you'd step inside, cheeks red, hands cold, and watch your burger being made exactly how you liked it. Pickles, onions, mustard, your choice mattered. The trays were orange, the booths squeaked, and every bite felt like home. Harvey's taught us that the best food wasn't the fastest. It was the one that tasted like someone cared. Number 1. Canadian Tire, the soul of every weekend. Every dad, every uncle, every curious kid had a ritual: the Saturday morning trip to Canadian Tire. You'd walk through the aisles filled with the smell of rubber tires and oil, hearing the soft hum of old fluorescent lights above. Your dad would teach you how to pick a wrench, how to check a bike tire, how to earn your first Canadian Tire money, that legendary paper treasure we saved in drawers and glove boxes. Canadian Tire wasn't a store. It was a classroom for life, a place where generations passed down skills, laughter, and pride. Even now, when you hear that faint sound of an air compressor, you can almost smell the store again, and for a moment, you're a kid standing beside your dad, holding on to something that felt timeless. These brands were more than names on buildings or bottles on shelves. They were chapters of our lives. They taught us patience, pride, and what it meant to be Canadian. They filled our childhoods with color, comfort, and community. And though many have faded, their stories still live inside us. Because no matter how much the world changes, the Canada we grew up in will always be right here, in our hearts, in our memories, and in the simple moments that remind us where we came from. This was and always will be yesterday's Canada. Comment below and tell us which one of these brands brings back the strongest memories for you. And if you remember another forgotten gem, share it. Your memory might be in the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe for more warm memories from yesterday's Canada.